everyone, Teeny here. I hope your day is going wonderful and lovely, and thank you so much for joining me. Well, I have some Spellbinders Club kits. It's the last club kits for December. January is around the corner and there'll be more, but it's so sad to see December go. I just can't believe I'm saying they're December club kits. The year goes by so fast. Okay, we are going to create with the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month club kit. This is just greetings, and they coordinate with a lot of the club kits this month. So we'll be using this on our card. I'm also going to be using the Stencil of the Month club kit. This is called Where Love Lands. It's really pretty. It's a 5-piece layering stencil. We're going to doctor up a 1-layer stencil and give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm also going to be creating a card using a die set that I don't use very often, but I know a lot of you guys do have the deluxe caboodles, and which is the whole Shamir packages. And this is the December bonus item. So this one is actually some cute little slippers you can create, and also a little eye mask for unwinding. This one here is called Unwind, and it works perfectly too with the large die of the month club kit. Let me show you the large die. The large die of the month club kit creates this cute little girl, and so this mask will fit to scale on her, which was really fun. Look how big she is. I'll be creating a card with this pretty soon, so keep a lookout for that video. But for today, we're going to be using these two plus the bonus item. So let's get started with doing some stenciling. Let's break out the stencils. There's 5 in here, and what I'm going to do is use the reverse side. This is what the image looks like, but rather than the birdie being on the right, I'm going to flip these over, okay, to the reverse side, and I'm going to make it a mirror image, so I want the birdie to face to the left. Okay, I have a plan, and I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm just going to make sure that all of these are the right way. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip them over. And we're going to start off with this one, which has all the branches. Okay, and I'm using my Simon Says Stamp Sky ink. I'm going to go dark. The branches are going to be overlapped with another color. I'm going to wipe off my stencil. And then, oops, let's go ahead and lift this up. Let's see. Next, we're going to use the stencil with the leaves. And again, we're going the opposite way. We're going to line this up here at the bottom. Once we have this tacked down, I brought in another ink. This is my Simon Says Stamp Mist ink. And I'm just going to lightly go over this one with my mist. I'm going to wipe off my stencil, and then while we have this stencil on here, since they are leaves, we're going to bring it a little green. I love these colors together. I'm going to use my Simon Says Stamp Field ink, but for this I need a more smaller detailed blending brush. So I'm just going to highlight my leaf here with some green. Now we have a little green on our blue leaves, and then we're going to put on our next layer. Oh, I think that looks really pretty. I just realized too, these are indexed. I'm going out of order. These are indexed. Let me tell you the numbers. Okay, we're doing the reverse side first of layer 5. So we did layer 5 first. The second layer we just finished with is layer 4. Okay, so we are definitely going out of order. Now I'm going to take my layer 1, making sure. The nice thing is you know it's the opposite side. You see in this little corner bracket, on the lower left corner bracket, they're numbered. I'm going to flip this over. We're going to layer this on here. Now for this layer, again, this is layer 1. I'm going to go in with my Simon Says Stamp Melon ink, and we're going to add some orange. That's all there is to that layer. Beautiful. Now we're going to add in our next layer, which is layer 2. For my next layer, we're going to go with a darker orange. We're using terracotta, and we're going to go over this layer. I think this is the type of card that would go great with Distress Oxide inks because of the layering effect. We're layering on colored cardstock, and so Distress Oxide inks would work fabulous. Let's remove this. So pretty. And then I'm going to come in with my last stencil, and we are going to layer stencil 3. For this one, I'm using my Cantaloupe ink. Lovely. And that is all there is to that. Let's take a look. I think it turned out really pretty. Let's bring in the splatter box, and I'm going to add some white splatter to this. And I like, since I work with a lot of different companies, I like to use the company that I'm working with. So I'm working with Spellbinders, so Spellbinders has the splatter white today. I think the white splatter is just going to add a little bit of brightness. And that is all there is to that. I actually diluted, this is very concentrated, I diluted it inside in here with water. So that's why I'm going direct from my jar to my paper with this. Okay, so if you do have splatter white, of course you want to dilute it because a little goes a long way with that, but I've had this for a very long time. Okay, so that is that. I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I'm going to create one more panel, so 2 panels in total. Okay, but the second panel I'm not going to add splatter to, so I'll do that and I'll be right back. Both of my panels are done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the bird, the flowers, and the heart. I'm just going to fussy cut out the orange areas, leaving the greenery. Okay, I'm just finishing up with my fussy cutting. And my fussy cutting skills, well, you can definitely see where they could use some improvement. But no worries, because all we have to do is take a finger dauber and go over the edge with my darkest ink, which is the terracotta. Using the darker ink adds a lot of depth too. Now I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to trim this down. Now we did a little trimming, okay? Let me tell you what I did. I didn't take any off of the bottom, and off of the top. Let me show you an A2 panel. So basically what I did was took 1/2 of an inch off the left, 1/2 of an inch off the right, and 3/4 of an inch off of the top. Okay, we didn't touch the bottom. And that will be our panel. Now I'm going to take our fussy cut elements and I'm going to add some foam tape behind here. But I want to kind of ground them on this panel. So to do that, what we're going to do is take a little glue at the very bottom, and then I'm going to layer the bird over the existing bird, and then where I added the glue, I'm going to press down. So the bottom is grounded on our panel, but the top is, I'm going to show you, as soon as this grabs, I'll show you what it's doing. Okay, so the bottom of it is attached to the card base, but we have a little bit of dimension on the top with the foam tape. You see that? I think it looks really pretty on the card. I need to add a little more glue. Lastly, we're going to do the same thing to our heart here. We'll add a small foam square, and then I'm going to add a little dot of glue at the bottom, and then we can layer this right over the existing heart. Attach it. There we go. Super fun, and you could do this with any colors. I just love the way this looks. I'm going to bring in my white gel pen and I'm going to add some little white dots kind of fading up on the flower. This is going to take on the ink that we added, so I don't need too many. Now I'm bringing in 2 die sets. I'm bringing in a die set that has a postage stamp, so go through your dies, see if you have a postage stamp. This one is called the Memory Frames, and it has a fun little postage stamp here. So we'll use this. I'm going to cut out the top piece with a light gray cardstock, the bottom with a white cardstock. And then I have a stitched scallop border that I'm going to die cut out with some white cardstock. Now that these are cut out, I'm going to bring in a background stamp. This is from Hero Art. This is called I use this a lot, the Script Bold Prints. And we are going to add some print in the background here of my card base. So this is my top bolding card base. I'm going to add some gray. This is my Simon Says Stamp flannel. We're going to add some very pale gray print to our background. Just layer, better go over it once more. Okay, now we can add this right over the top. Give it a good press. I'm more concerned about the edge here. Okay, and that is all there is to that. There's only one thing. I did the opposite end. I'm upside down, so let's fix that. You want to make sure if you do the print, make sure your print is right side up. So I will just trim this off, and we will add this right side up to another card base. Just using a little bit of glue here. Okay. Now I'm bringing back my stamp, and I'm going to add some print to my postage piece. To the top piece of my postage stamp. Just going to press that in there. And that is all there is to that. We're going to layer this one on top of our, and I think I'm going to use my tape runner. Using my tape runner, we're going to add some adhesive here. And then I'm going to add my scallop border to the left of my card base here. Next I want to take this panel, and we're going to adhere it directly to the front of our card base here. Right over that scalloped edge. And then I have our postage stamp that I'm going to pop up. This is the reason why I put my image on the reverse side, the mirror side, because I was kind of wanting to turn this into like a little postcard. So I'm going to add my stamp right up here. And then I'm bringing in some white cardstock and an acrylic block. And I think You Make Life Better is going to be perfect for this card. And do we want to stamp with gray ink? Let's try stamping with our flannel ink first. No, I don't like that. Let's try Memento. I'm going to try my Memento. Let's stamp it with Memento instead. I'm using Memento because my VersaFine Clair is a very bold black, and Memento is a little bit lighter. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and then I'll use the coordinating die set, and we will just cut this out. And I will be right back. So this is our greeting. What I'm going to do next is cut it in half. So I have You Make Life here, and then I'm going to clean up the better here. So we're turning this into two different greetings. Now I'm going to add my greeting over here, just kind of overlapping them a little bit. And then while I was at it, I took a heart die from the bonus die set. There's a little heart here. I die cut that out with the same Seaside cardstock. We're going to add a little heart to our stamp. So cute. Okay, now for finishing touches, I'm bringing in some gems. These are Spellbinders Aquamarine gem. I'd love to know in the comments, have you guys tried these? These are a beautiful blue, but they have like an iridescence to them. These are probably my favorite blue gems that Spellbinders has. I switched out my heart for a white heart. I didn't put foam tape behind it, I just glued it down. This way it's not competing with this heart. Now we're going to move along to our next card, which is going to be really easy. For my next card, what we're going to do is a little die cutting. Now I thought this top piece that goes to our mask should be like a satin, and so I'm bringing in some Spellbinders cardstock. The one that I'm using is the Treasured Antique. I've been using this a lot lately, but there is this one here is called the Mirror Metallic. So it kind of looks like satin, but I'm going to die cut this out. So this is with that Treasured cardstock. We have a little bit of shine, and then I die cut out the outline with some of my Spellbinders chiffon cardstock. Let's add this to this, but I am going to add some dimension with some foam tape. If you wanted to use pop-up foam, you could. Okay, and then I did the strings that go with the mask with the same color. And I did die cut out 2 hearts, but we're not going to put them on the mask. We're actually going to put them on the slippers that I die cut out with felt for a little fluffiness. I think that will add a lot of detail here. We'll add a little dot of glue on these sides. And our mask is all done. Our little fancied up mask is all done. Okay, and then for our slippers, I'm just going to add some glue here at the bottom. And then we can add this top piece. And I'll add a dot of glue, and we're going to add the hearts. Do we want to add the hearts this way or this way? We're going to put the hearts upside down. Those are our slippers, little fluffy slippers, but I'm going to flip them over, and I'm going to put some foam tape behind here. For these, I'm just putting foam tape on the upper portion, almost like what we did with the other card. We're going to do the same thing with these slippers. Okay, so we have slippers and the eye mask. Now I thought that we would create a robe, really a simple robe. So we'll put these to the side. Now I'm bringing in some more of the Spellbinders Seaside cardstock. I'm going to cut this in half. Almost in half. And when I cut it in half, it actually doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, just cut it down the middle. It's an A2 panel. And then I'm going to fold one flap over. This part doesn't have to be perfect either, I promise. I do need my bone folder though. Add the bone folder. Actually, I'm going to flip this the other way. I'm going to flip this way. Okay, so since this is the bigger piece, we have the bigger flap over here. And then with this one, we're going to fold just a flap over like this. And that's all there is to that. Now I have a panel that I cut out that's slightly smaller than my card base. This one happens to have stitch detail, but I just wanted a little extra smaller panel. Now I'm going to take this and layer it on that small panel, like so. Now, I'm not pressing down all the way yet. And then, oh no, I'm out. I ran out of adhesive, so I'm going to take this panel and we're going to overlap it like so, just like that. And again, this part doesn't have to be perfect. Just layer on like that, and then anything overhanging we're just going to trim away. I did make sure that there was no ends on the top and the bottom, because this way it looks more like a robe. I mean, how cute. You can't get any quicker than that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put this on my card base. We're going to put a couple foam squares behind our mask. I'm going to add our mask here. I think that's a good spot down here in the corner. And then I could just add a little dots of glue and we can attach that felt. I kind of like the flap over. I'm not even worried about the flap or putting any foam tape. I think that just adds to the robe look. Okay, I do want to use the leftover pieces from my robe. And I thought we would add a a little more felt here. So I'm just going to trim down, actually flip this over. So I'm just going to trim, I'm just going to add a little glue here. I'm going to add a little piece of felt on this side. And we will trim it like so. And then with this piece, actually, and then we have, doesn't look like you can do much with this, but you can. I'm just going to trim a small piece here, and let's trim a small piece here. And we will add some more glue. And let's add a tie to our robe. I went ahead and stamped my greeting that says thinking about you today. I'm going to layer it over here just so it kind of covers up that robe piece, but it still looks like a robe. And then we need to add a little bit of sparkle using those same gems. I have a backup pack, but I don't want to break it out just yet. But that will finish off that card. Super quick card, but I think it's so cute. Creating a little robe with it. And that's all there is to that. So here's both of my cards that I made today with a couple of Spellbinders Club kit along with the bonus die. But I hope it gives you a little bit of inspiration. I thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a lovely day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.